Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching around the world. This is round 3 of the UAE4 Series right here at the Dubai Autodrome after two action-packed race weekends down in the capital of the United Arab Emirates at the Yas Marina circuit. We've now travelled to what is one of the oldest racing circuits here in the Middle East and the oldest in the United Arab Emirates, built in October 2004, over 21 years ago. This has been home to a number of international national championships, but today placed host to the the UAE4 Series. We have quite a lineup here of drivers. We have over 25 drivers who will take to the track here, and of course who we do have is the championship leader at the moment as well, Alexander Bondarev, who is leading the championship by 102 points to his name. There are 17 points between himself and Andy Consani, but Andy Consani not here this weekend, so he will not be vying for his second position overall in the Drivers' Championship. So it looks like Alexander Bondarev's got an easy 3 races here this weekend, because his nearest rival, Kenzo Craig, I have a feeling it may not also be here. Let's have a look through the entry list if we see Kenzo on here. I didn't see his name earlier this morning, unless I have an old bit of information here, but it doesn't look like Kenzo is also here. So Masik Nanani is the closest rival to him with 51 points to his name. So a nice buffer of 51 points between Alexander Bondarev and his closest rival, essentially, here this weekend. So what we have here now is 15 minutes of qualifying. We have 2 sessions back-to-back. This will set up the field for our 2 races, one today and then one tomorrow, but we also have a second race as well today that will take place later on. Our first race is scheduled to start here at and let's have a look through our timing here. It's 11:30 local time here in the United Arab Emirates. It's GST, so if you're in the United Kingdom, it's +4 at the moment. And it's going to be a very interesting race weekend as well, because last time out the Yas Marina circuit, and I still can't believe I'm saying this, is that we had rain in our some of our races 1 week ago. It was a very short shower, but it was a heavy shower as well that put a halt to the racing. And while we do get rain quite a few times in the year around this time, it's still very, very unusual to have it on a race weekend, but it happened, and well, unfortunately, it put a stop to some of our racing, but we were, luckily enough, it was a very short shower, so we got racing once again. There are no clouds in the sky here this weekend, no reports of rain either, which means we should have sunshine all around the Dubai Autodrome here. As we said, Alexander Bondarev is the current championship leader. He's also the man who has the most amount of pole positions as well, with 2 so far this season, both in Yas Marina. One was in the first race of the championship, and the second one came in round 3 around the corkscrew configuration of the Yas Marina circuit. Andy Consani and Scotkin Lindblom are the other 2 drivers that have pole positions in the championship so far. However, Andy Consani not here with us this weekend. So will we have a new pole sitter to add to our list here? Will we have our fifth pole sitter this weekend? Well, we have 15 minutes to find that out, as we're currently looking here at Nasser Al-Thani, one of 2 Qataris in the field for QMMF by Hi-Tech. His teammate has actually already won a race as well, the first Qatari, if I'm not mistaken, to have won a race here in the UAE4 Series. Badr Al-Salati won the second race at the Yas Marina circuit 1 week ago, but Alexander Bondarev won the other 2 races, rounds 1 and 3 at the second round of the championship. And there is the QMF by Hi-Tech teammate of Badr Al-Salati, a winner already here in the championship and looking for more victories here in the GCC. Great to see drivers from the region as well being a part of this. We have a number of drivers Part of this, we have a number of drivers from this part of the world, from Qatar, the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait as well. We have drivers as well from neighbouring Arab countries, including Lebanon, who we'll see featured in one of the Yassi racing cars. It'll be the number 55 of Charbel, who we'll see later on. Of course, he raced in Formula Trophy UAE last season. There is Scott Lindblom, another one of our pole sitters, and a very rapid driver indeed, especially in Formula Trophy last season, a very short season as well, as only 3 rounds, but of course one of the biggest stages of the year. In the second round they were support race to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which was a fantastic opportunity for them to show their talent, because of course what we have here are young budding stars here looking for an opportunity to hone their craft, get as much experience as possible, and of course have their eyes firmly set on the prize that is Formula One one day. And no doubt we will see some of these drivers in Formula One, all of them actually in some capacity. We've had drivers who are currently on the F1 grid racing in previous seasons here, the likes of Oscar Piastri and of course Logan Sargent, who has recently been announced for the Ford Hypercar program. Now, we're having a look at Rafael Mason here. He is one of our newcomers, one of 2 newcomers actually here this weekend. The other one is Roman Felber, who we'll get a look at later on. But the Singaporean here joining us for the first time in the UAE4 Series for 2026 was with us at the As Arena circuit. But great to have more drivers entering the category, in a very competitive category of racing here as well. It's a spec series, all the cars are identical. The only difference is of course are the teams that run them, and of course the liveries and the drivers behind the wheel as well. A nice stacked grid here, as we said, of over 30 cars will take to the Dubai Autodrome. We'll be 30 cars will take to the Dubai Autodrome. We'll be using the full Grand Prix circuit configuration as well. It is a just under 5.4 kilometres in length, 16 corners in total, 2 long straightaways providing overtaking opportunities on exits, both of them, and they can get quite frantic as well, because you have to be very, very brave to dive deep onto the inside. But no doubt this weekend we'll see plenty of action around the 16 corners here. 3 sectors, as always, here at the Dubai Autodrome. Interesting enough, there are 4 different configurations that we can use in the Dubai Autodrome, but however, this weekend we'll be using the full Grand Prix circuit configuration, as we have done in previous iterations of the championship. So I can see that the UAE4 cars are now making their way onto the hot lane here for that means the start of our first qualifying session, and indeed they start making their way out onto the track here for the first live session here this weekend of the UAE4 Series, and a number of drivers will better yet, and we've got to 15 so far, and more than will start trickling their way onto the circuit in due time. Now, a lot of these drivers here that are this weekend have also participated, of course, around the world, but also in our previous outings here in the United Arab Emirates, as early as last year, even in Formula Trophy, which is a very tight schedule, similar to what we have here, but of course we have now a 2-week break before we move over to Qatar for the final round of the championship. And it looks like the 2 QMMF by Hi-Tech cars are the first 2 out onto the circuit here, followed by a slew of cars behind them as well. So speaking of Formula Trophy, Alp Aksoy has returned to single-seater racing here. Of course, he was the Formula Trophy UAE champion in 2025. It was a magnificent drive from him, the young driver from Turkey, who he calls home is Istanbul, and of course back here in the United Arab Emirates for another crack at a championship title. But this one seems to be being a little bit more tricky for him, because we also did have Alexander Bondarev in Formula 4 Trophy. However, Alexander was only in 2 rounds, where Alp Aksoy did all 3 rounds of the championship, securing his title. Highest finishing position for the young Turkish driver so far is 5th at the moment, but he's looking to change that here this weekend as he'd like to be further up the field than he has been in the previous races. So we are now on the outlap. They are currently making their way through the bowl complex, which is turn 14 here. It's an incline through turn 14 as well, a unique challenge that we haven't seen so far this season. That means we will get our first flying laps in this time round, and all the drivers so far that we've had a good look at seem to be wearing stickers on all four corners. So a nice fresh set of rubber here this morning. And it is quite cold here as well in the United Arab Emirates. We're used to 30 plus degrees centigrade, but it's around 20-ish at the moment, possibly even lower. But now, this is good news though, because the engine notes have started to rise quite a lot higher here at the Dubai Autodrome, which means we're going to start getting some quick laps in, and we can now see where everyone will be when it comes to the initial stages here of qualifying. Who will be on the front row of the grid? Will it be Alexander Bondarev, who will take another pole position here? As he already has two so far. Will it be a third one here to kickstart the Dubai race weekend? We'll have to wait and see. So we have, as we said, two races today. We have one race today and two tomorrow, excuse me. Our first race here will be at 11:30. It will be at 11:30 this morning. And down the back straight we go here. Now, let's have a look at who's going quick at the moment. So it's showing that the number one of Christian Costoya is out in front for the time being, but of course this is qualifying, so we have to wait and see when the time comes in to see who will be on top of the timesheets when it comes to the end of this flying lap now. Going quickest through the first sector though at the moment is the number 19, Nicolo Massignani, who the young Italian who has a bit of experience racing around here in the likes of Formula Trophy, is the quickest through the first sector with a 44.224 at the moment. But quickest through sector 2 though, Theo Palmer and Scott Lindblom sharing quickest times through that second sector. Both of them of course raced here as well last season at the beginning of December during our National Day race weekend. And Theo Palmer, the British driver, but of course based here in the United Arab Emirates, would love to be in pole position here when it comes to the start of our first race later on this morning. And let's see where he'll be shuffled in the order here, because now we should get our quick times in the books now. It'll be Scott Lindblom who comes across the line first, so he'll be the first one to put a time in. He does a 2:14.057, but a 2:14.019 for Theo Palmer. So 3/100ths of a second separate our top two for the time being, and now the rest of the field will start making their way across the line to post their first lap times in as well. Quickest rookie so far is the Kuwaiti Jabir Al-Sabah, who is now showing us third on our timing screens here, 1.2 seconds off pole position at the moment. And he's got a rookie tucked in right behind him as well. Dominic Simic there in the 67 is fourth overall with a 2:15.533 last time round. But of course now with 10 minutes left in the session, we've got some heat in the tyres, we've got some heat in the brakes. Everything is running up to temperature, and now it will get quicker as Alexander Bondarev momentarily had the top of the timesheets there with a 2:10.866. However, Al Aksoy now goes to the top with a 2:10.489. The young driver from Turkey now tops the time sheets here, and of course the leader in the rookie category as well, as the field is shuffling all the way down the timing screens here. Now, David Cosma-Christopher, the Romanian, goes quickest of all. 9/10 of a second is his time better than Al Aksoy at the moment with a 2:09.543. These two had some great battles in Formula Trophy late last year here in the United Arab Emirates, and with only one lap completed, we're already having some lap times deleted. Car 55, Charbel from Yassi Racing has had a lap time deleted, and that is quite unfortunate for him, because now he has to push extra hard now when it comes to the closing stages of this session. Now then, Thomas Ingram Hill has just gone quickest through sector 2 with a 49.533, currently shown as 21st overall in the 88, but picking up the pace here in the second half of the session, but also going quicker as well. Massignani in the number 19, currently showing his third overall, has started to pick up the pace as well. He's just 2/10 of a second from Al Aksoy at the moment with a 2:10.720, so no doubt it'll be an improvement across the line here as well. Scott Lindblom goes up into second position, 34.690. Quickest through sector 3 there. 1/10 of a second though off Davide Cosma Christopher, who still tops the timesheets here with a 2:09.543. He's a 1/10 of a second up the road from Skotkin Lindblom at the moment. Martinez now moves up to 3rd overall and is now leading the rookie class as well. He is 1/6 of a second up the road from Al Aksoy at the moment, but those two provisionally will share the 2nd row of the grid. More movement as well as Thomas Ingram Hill moves up now to 9th quickest overall after that quick sector through sector 2. But now, what about Davide Cosma Christopher? He's currently working his way through sector 3. Let's see when he comes through and across the line. Will it be an improvement to make those behind him their job a little bit more difficult? To take pole position away from the Romanian? Well, he should be coming across the line in a few moments' time, as a lot of drivers who were further up the order have started to slow down ever so slightly here, maybe just giving themselves a bit of a gap here to ensure that they get a quick time next time round. So Davide Cosma Christopher is also slowed down here as well. He's not come through and across the line, so building a gap between himself and the closest car in front of him, because last time round it was a 2:21.687. That's 11 seconds slower than his quickest lap so far. Skotkin Lindblom still sits in 2nd position. It's now making his way through the 3rd sector position. It's now making his way through the 3rd sector up through turn 13. And he made the left-hander through the bowl complex. Now, Theo Palmer is going quickest through sector 2 with a 48.481 at the moment, down in 11th position at the moment in the number 7. Now, what can he do this time round? Well, that time has just been handed over to Rowan Campbell-Pilling, who goes quickest of all through sector 2. Rowan Campbell-Pilling, of course, a winner in the Formula 4 Trophy Championship last season. Yorkshire back again in the United Arab Emirates, racing here in the UAE4 Series. Currently down all the way in 25th position. Very unusual there for Rowan Campbell-Pilling, but it is still early days in the session here. So Skotkin Lindblom now tops the time screens here with a 2:02.789. Quickest through sector 3 with a 33.523. He was 8/100th of a second quicker than Theo Palmer, but now Rowan Campbell-Pilling goes quickest of all with a 2:02.517, and it looks like someone's locked up through turn 1 there as well. But now we're looking a little bit further down the timing screens, and I see there are 2 purple timings here for Alexander Bondarev. Well, at least there was momentarily, but he has gone quickest through sector 1. All the way down in 24th is the Ukrainian driver. He is 8.3 seconds adrift from the quickest time so far, but he's about to come across the line here, and will he be back to the top of the timesheets for Alexander? Let's see when he comes across the line. No, it's only good enough there for 11th position, or make that 12th now behind Jabba Al-Sabah, who currently sits in 12th position, as up front now Nicolo Masigagnani goes quickest of all, and make that now Andy Consani, who unfortunately did not see on my timing screen. So the good news is for Andy Consani, he is back here this weekend as well for some more racing in the UAE4 Series. He's now topping the timesheets ahead of Kenzo Craig, who sits in 2nd position, 8/100th of a second behind him at the moment. Andy Consani there, the Frenchman, in sector 3 there was the quickest of all with a 33.251, but it was Kenzo who was quickest through sector 2. Alexander once again going quickest through the 1st sector here, but bumped all the way down once again to 23rd here at the moment, with just over 4 minutes remaining on the clock here for our first qualifying session of the weekend. This, of course, will set up the field for our first race later on today, which is at 11 o'clock local time. Exactly, yes it is. Sorry, no, it's at 11:30 local time here for the UAE4 Series. And at the moment, Consani has just been bumped off of the pole position at the moment, because Skotkin Lindblom has just gone fastest again with a 2:02.163, 2/100th of a second quicker than Andy Consani, with Kenzo Craig still in 3rd position. Emily Cossi, though, running well here in the first qualifying session, currently shown as 4th overall. In the 42 now at the moment. She's just over a 1/10 of a second ahead of, behind Scott Lindblom, but we're looking for a strong starting position here at the Dubai Autodrome. Currently shown as on the second row of the grid, on the outside at least, but it's still the second row of the grid. A great opportunity for her here to try the long way around the outside through turn 1, but Kenzo Craig has just gone quickest through sector 2 with a 47 at 7:03. Once again, Alexander Bondarev has gone quickest through sector 1 as well, but being shuffled all the way down, now outside of the top 30. But now, with that quick time coming through sector 3 as well, Alexander Bondarev now tops the timesheets here with a 2:01.326. He is 0.8 of a second quicker now than the rest of the field. But now make that Kenzo Craig now leads here by 0.2 of a second in qualifying. He tops the timesheets here with a 2:01.087. Andy Consani still in third position. Davide Cosma Christopher moves up into fourth place now, bumping Emily Cossi down to fifth position. Now, as Scott Lindblom had a lap time deleted because he was shown as further up the field, he's now being shown as sixth position overall with a best time of 2:02.163. But let's see a neat note pop up on our timing screen that a time was deleted from him. Car number 99, though, has had a lap time deleted. That's Davide Cosma Christopher, but he's still being shown as fourth fastest here at the moment. Joseph Smith making his way up the order as well, now up into 7th overall behind the wheel of the 15. Theo Palmer now making his way across the line. Will there be improvement from him to shuffle him up the order as well? Let's see when he comes across the line as Scott Lindblom moves up the order. Theo Palmer does indeed improve. Theo Palmer does indeed improve, moving up into 7th position as Alba Larson also moves up the order as well, bumps her up now into 11th position overall. Tom Ingram Hill also moving up the order as well, now into 21st position at the moment. Now, our race 2 winner and our fastest lap owner as well from round 2, race 2, Badar Salati, all the way down in 27th position at the moment is the young Qatari. He hasn't got much time left on the clock here if he wants to be further up the field here for a chance to snatch another victory, as Kenzo Craig now goes quickest of all with a 2:01.087, 0.2 of a second faster than Alexander Bondarev. Kenzo here looking to be the 5th driver, make that 4th driver actually, to be on pole position here in the UAE4 Series. Alexander Bondarev has 2 already, but he would like to make it 3 here when he comes across the line this time round. However, 9 seconds slower last time round there, currently shown as 2nd overall with just under 40 seconds remaining on the clock. He's got one more chance here if he wants to retake and reclaim pole position here as well, as Nicolo Masiragnani moves up now into 4th position. Albaxo up into 7th. Davide Cosma Christopher moving down the order into 6th position. Roman Felber, who joins us here this weekend as well, down into 22nd. And local star Adam Al-Azhari is now down into 17th position here for Yas Heat Racing. Let's get to Craig there across the line, and momentarily there got the 73 pointing in the wrong direction. That is Roman Felber, one of 2 new drivers here joining us here this weekend for round 3 of the UAE4 Series. Now, coming across the line is Scott Lindblom. Is there improvement? He was quicker through sector 2, and he's the first to see the checker flag as well. But unfortunately, the time there only good enough for 5th overall here in qualifying, a 2:01.859. Now, there are improvements all around so far, but no one has moved their way up the order just yet. As Thomas Ingram Hill there across the line. Like Emma Felbermeyer moves up the order as well, up into 12th position. Bumping Alba Larson down a row onto the 7th row of the grid. But let's see what happens now come the end of the session. Will it still be Kenzo Craig who leads here come the end of it, as Alexander Bondarev personal best through sector 2, 47.946 for the number 27. Where is Alexander Bondarev at the moment? He's currently working his way through sector 3. Can he retake pole position here at the Dubai Autodrome? Nicolo Massaganani also make his way through the 3rd and final sector. Can he move up into and onto the front row of the grid as well? Although not a quick lap from him so far here in Dubai. As across the line there goes Albaxoy, 7th quickest for him, and Alexander Bondarev, despite being quickest through the 3rd sector with a 33.038, it was an improvement, but it was not enough to take pole position away from Kenzo Craig here at the moment. Less than 0.2 of a second is the gap between the two of them, but Kenzo Craig looking for his first pole position here in the UAE4 Series. There's Bondarev there and Andy Consani across the line as well. The third fastest. Now Kenzo has decided to go straight into the pit lane here as well, but still with that lap time of a 2:01.087. That is good enough for pole position provisionally at the moment. So only Emily Cotti, Roman Felber and Elia Weiss have to come across the line here in what is our first session of qualifying here at the Dubai Autodrome. So there you go, Kenzo Craig, quickest of all with a 2:01.087 for the British driver. He was just under 0.2 of a second quicker than Alexander Bondarev at the line there. And these, of course, are the provisional results. Andy Consani will be on the second row of the grid. Alongside him, Nicolo Massignani for company when it comes the start of the race. Rowan Campbell pilling, though, 14th fastest at the moment, but he's certainly going to be one to watch out for. Badar Salati as well, not the best qualifying for him here this weekend so far, all the way down in 25th position for the young Qatari. He'll be looking to climb his way up through the field, and hopefully another victory is in sight for one of our drivers here from the GCC. So that brings an end here to our first session of qualifying. We'll have the second session coming up in a few moments' time. But before we do that, maybe we can check out some highlights of the first session here to see how it all played out. But I don't think that will be the case, because it looks like we may just go straight into the second session of qualifying here. So it's already one pole position here now for Kenzo Craig. Can he double it up here this weekend? Make it at least 2 pole positions for him. So he starts in the pole positions for race 1 and race 3. But we have to wait 15 minutes to find that out, if he can take another pole position. Or will it be Alexander Bondarev, Andy Consani, or anyone else in the rest of the field here? So a slight setup change here, perhaps a fresh set of rubber as well for some of the drivers, just to make sure that they're getting exactly what they want out of the car, to ensure that they can vie for a pole position come the end of the second session here for the second of our qualifying session. So let's have a look at some replays and some highlights from qualifying session 1 in the UAE4 Series. So we're back now here for qualifying session 2 for the UAE4 Series. Kenzo Craig already has 1 pole position locked in place so far. Will he have another pole position for tomorrow's third race? Well, he has 15 minutes to figure that out, but then behind him are very, very talented drivers who also would like to be on pole position as well for the third race. So at least that's 1 pole confirmed for them come the 2 races tomorrow. So pit lane is open. Some final checks, some final tweaks here, some adjustments as well, just to make sure the car is exactly where it should be, and it's exactly right of how they want it when they hit the track here for the second time in qualifying. Qualifying here to set up the field here for race number 3, which will play out tomorrow. So once again, like we had in our first session, it is the QMMF by Hi-Tech cars that go out first. Badar Salati and Nasser Al-Thani both make their way onto the circuit first of all. Scott Kidd-Lindblom and Theo Palmer also followed them as well, going out early here at the Dubai Autodrome for another 15-minute session. But will it be the man from RAce GP, the young Kenzo Craig, who took pole position provisionally in the first session there? And of course, he's a Mercedes Junior driver. So is his teammate as well, Andy Consani, who has already been on pole position once here in the UAE4 Series. He's also had a race victory as well, has Andy Consani, that came in the likes of race 3 of round 1 at the Yas Marina circuit some 2 weeks ago. But it's been some time since we've seen the RAce GP driver on the podium, at least the top step, that is. Can he do it again here this weekend? We'll have to wait and find out for our sessions later on. Remember, first race here starts at 11:30 local time, so 11:30 GST here in the United Arab Emirates. So now qualifying 2 is underway here for the UAE4 Series to set up the field for race 3 that will take place tomorrow. A lot of the cars have already made their way out, so many in fact that we can barely squeeze them all onto our timing screens in front of us, which makes it quite difficult to see where everyone is towards the back end of the field here. As there we see Adam Al-Azhari, one of the locally based drivers here racing for Yas Heat Racing, a locally based team as well, who are based just over 100 kilometres down the road in the capital, of course, at the Yas Marina circuit. So this is Theo Palmer here in the number 7, one of a handful of drivers who went out nice and early. So as soon as the green light was being shown at the end of the pit lane, Theo Palmer decided, right, I've got to get out there and I want to get a nice quick time in here, nice and early, so I have a lot of clean air in front of me and I can vie for pole position. And let's see what Theo Palmer can do here. The British driver based here in the United Arab Emirates. Behind him as well with Scott Lindblom, also looking for his first pole position here this weekend, because he already has a pole position actually, because he got the a race 1 round 2 podium at the Yas Marina circuit 1 week ago, and is looking for repeat success to start at the sharp end of the field, right on the very pole position here as well. Quickest through the first sector is Theo Palmer with a 43.189 at the moment. Now that's the quickest of the top 4 so far, but that of course will change. Kenzo Craig has made his way across the line. I've seen as well that Kenzo Craig was actually the leading rookie in the first session as well. So not just the provisional pole sitter overall, but also the provisional pole sitter in the rookie category as well, which makes the other rookies' jobs a little bit more difficult because Kenzo Craig is just so much further up the order than they would all like him to be. So now we have more cars that have finished their outlap and now on to flying laps here around the Dubai Drone. Once again, Theo Palmer quickest through the second sector with a 50.495. Now quickest through that third sector last time around, there's 97. Platinum Costin all the way down in 32nd at the moment, but that's on his that was on his outlap. So let's see what happens now when it comes to his flying lap, how far up the order he will be. Now Theo Palmer, Scott Lindblom should be making their way through the final corners now, through sector 3 here on their first flying lap, and we'll see how far up the order they go. Rowan Campbell-Pilling goes quickest through sector 1 with a 43.165, and the first time in is a 208.339. That is the time to beat so far, and Scott Lindblom there across the line, 0.3 of a second behind Theo Palmer. Badr Al-Salati, excuse me, across the line as well. 0.9 of a second off Theo Palmer. Dominic Simek also across the line, as was the QMMF by Hi-Tech number 6 as well. Nasser Al-Thani across the line as well. There, those were the first 5 cars to go out onto the track, as more now make their way across the line here. But Rowan Campbell-Pilling is still the quickest, or is he? Because actually now Brooke Burton was the quickest through the second sector this time round with a 50.137. Currently Burton is 16th at the moment, but he's about to come across the line. Now where does that put Brock? Puts him all the way up into 3rd position in the number 23, but it's bumped down momentarily. Quickest through the 3rd sector though on the previous lap of 34.171 for Thomas Ingram Hill, who is shown now as 6th fastest at the moment. Qualifying 1 may not have gone his way, but it certainly is coming to him in this second qualifying session for the UAE4 Series, with just over 9 minutes remaining on the clock. Now then, we have a purple time all the way down. The order here is that Joseph Smith looks to be that has gone quickest of all so far through that second sector, and he's currently being shown as 26 overall. But looking for an improvement this time round as Theo Palmer goes quickest through sector 1 and sector 2 now on this lap. He's 0.02 of a second quicker than Kuwaiti Jaber Al-Sabah, who's currently sits in second with a 2:08.360. And now Joseph Smith tops the timesheets here. The number 15 with a 2:07.851. But now no longer the quickest through sector 2. That's gone the way of Theo Palmer. So this is going to be a very rapid lap indeed here from the young British driver. He is currently 0.4 of a second off of Joseph Smith's time as Kaylee Countryman now tops the time screens here with a 2:07.258. However, Theo Palmer with that quick sector times in all 3 sectors goes back to the top with a 2:01.547 at the moment. Nicolo Massigliani is 3rd quickest now at the moment, but that is shuffling quite a fair bit as Nasser Al-Thani goes 2nd fastest at the moment with a 5.7 second gap to Theo Palmer, but no doubt that time is going to come right down here with less than 8 minutes to go on the clock. How much longer can Theo Palmer control this qualifying session here? Now the gap is coming down, 2.4 seconds here. Hatmeyer now 2nd quickest with a 2:04.014, but Theo Palmer once again quickest through the 1st sector here in that number 7, looking for pole position here for race number 3 tomorrow. Can he do it? But now Scotkin Lindblom goes quickest of all through the 1st sector, 40.183. 12th quickest at the moment is the Swedish driver. The Red Bull Junior driver there as well, outside the top 10 provisionally for the time being, but looking to carve his way back through the field here in qualifying to get that crucial lap time in and walk away with his 2nd pole position here. Can he do it though? Come the end of the session, there's still a lot of time left on the clock. Let's see what happens through sector 2. Does he go quickest of all in this 2nd sector? Will someone else go purple through that 2nd sector? Theo Palmer slowing down now in the 2nd sector as well in that number 7 as a queue of UAE4 Series cars now lines up for an assault around the Dubai Autodrome. Going to try and all work together here, about 7 cars here in an attempt to do this as well as the order kind of reshuffles it. Maybe they don't want to be part of it right now. Let these ones sort it out and see how much faster they can go around the Dubai Autodrome and work together in the slipstream here as well. So we'll have to wait and see what these 7 drivers can do. Now then, Scotkin Lindblom has come through sector 2 with a 48.102. That is, he's still shown as 12th quickest. He's not come through and across the line, but last time round, Theo Palmer did with a 2:10.774, so 7 seconds off of his best time so far, but still in that all-important pole position for the time being provisionally, with a gap of 0.4 of a second between himself and Dominic Simic, who is now the fastest rookie out there as well. Scotkin Lindblom sits 3rd at the moment. Now, who's gone quickest through sector 3 that time round? Rafael Vason has gone quickest, the Singaporean, with a 33.397. That is good enough for 6th fastest overall. 3rd quickest rookie out there as well, behind Florentin Hattemeyer, who sits now 2nd overall. 0.3 of a second is the Swiss driver from Theo Palmer. Is Florentine. Thomas Ingram Hill up now into the top 5. But now we have a train of UAE4 Series cars working together. Can they lock out the top 7 positions when they come around this time round? We'll have to wait and see. As Jabal Sabah back into the top 5 here as well. The Kuwaiti now sits 5th overall with a lap time of 2:02.448. He was the quickest through sector 3 with a 33.395 last time round. Adil Al-Sadi moves up as well into 12th position overall. And now Kenzo Craig tops the time sheets once again here with a 2:05.92. Quickest through all three sectors with a 40.149, 47.553 and a 32.890. As Andy Consani also across the line, 2nd fastest there. So both of the R-Ace GP cars locking out the front row provisionally here with less than 5 minutes remaining on the clock. Now, car number 17 is having a lap time deleted. That's one of the Yassi Racing cars all the way down in 17th position. Zachariah behind the wheel of that car there as Rowan Campbell-Pilling moves up into the top 5 here, as does Alexander Bondarev. Now 3rd quickest is Alexander, bumping Theo Palmer down to 4th. And we said Rowan Campbell-Pilling in 5th at the moment. Now Theo Palmer making his way across the line, but unfortunately not quick through sector 1 or sector 2, but maybe he's found someone to work with here across the line to see if they can improve their lap time and go back up to the top of the timing screens here. And the Dubai Autodrome, there he was, Theo Palmer coming through in the number 7. Scott Lindblom back into the top 4 there with a 2:01.464 last time round. That is just 0.8 of a second from Kenzo Craig, who is still our session leader and picking up the pace once again here with a 39.924. Can Kenzo dip into the 1:59s here around the Dubai Autodrome? A 2:5.92 is the quickest so far for him. 0.7 of a second now from Andy Consani. And again, Kenzo quickest through sector 2, again with a 47.424. He was just over 1/10 of a second quicker compared to his RHGP teammate that time round. He was also 0.2 of a second faster through the first sector compared to his teammate as well. So what about through sector 3? What can the young British driver do? He's coming through the final corners now. Will he go up to the top of the time screen, or can he lock out the top of the time screens and make it just that much more difficult for anybody to get closer? It is a 2-minute 0.3 across the line there, so 2 very quick sectors, but was slowed down through the third sector, but now has 0.5 of a second between himself and Andy Consani. Alp Aksoy almost there on the front row of the grid to make it an all-rookie front row for race number 3. But Andy Consani there across the line, making sure Alp Aksoy is not there and ensuring that RHGP are locking out the front row provisionally. We still have 2.5 minutes left on the clock here. Emily Cotty now moves up into 4th position overall. So we wait and see what Kenzo Craig can do when he comes through Sector 1. Now, Alexander Bondarev has just spoilt the RHGP party up front because he's gone second fastest there in the 27. Still less than 0.5 of a second between himself and Kenzo, but that's a lot of time to find here around the Dubai Autodrome, especially when you have over 30 cars circulating at the same time here in the UAE4 Series. As Nicolo Massigagnani moves up now into 8th position. Theo Palmer bumped all the way down to 9th at the moment. Peyton Westcott moves up to 17th. The first driver, female driver to win a race in Formula Trophy last season. Won a race right here in Dubai Autodrome for the first round of the championship over the National Day race weekend here in the United Arab Emirates. All the way down in 17th at the moment is the 98. Now, Kenzo Craig making his way through Sector 3, but it was not personal best through Sector 1 or Sector 2, running slower through those first 2 sectors, so he thought maybe not, I have enough of a gap between myself and now Alexander Bondarev and Andy Consani to breathe a little bit easier and lock in a 2nd pole position here for the British driver. Now Andy Consani and his teammate, the number 30, making their way through the final sector. There is Kenzo Craig now making his way across the line. It was a 2:09.161 that last time round. No improvement from him. Also no improvement as well from Andy Consani. But what about Alexander Bondarev? What can he do now on this final lap? No purple times, no green times either, so Alexander may settle for 2nd position, lining up alongside Kenzo Craig. Alexander Bondarev will try around the outside, going down towards turn 1 if he wants to take the lead through the first sector on the first lap as well. But it looks like Kenzo will be delighted with his efforts here, and so will the team as well, to have 2 cars inside the top 3 when it comes to start of the race later today. And of course the race tomorrow as well. Now then, Christian Costoya has moved up the order as well into 10th overall. Nicolo Massigagnani moves up into 8th position, but the checkered flag now comes out for Scott Lindblom. He's the first driver to see the checkered flag, and that's good enough for 7th position overall with a 2:01.336. Theo Palmer there across the line can only muster up 9th quickest there, but at least inside the top 10 is the British driver, with a number of other drivers now working their way across the line as well. No one so far on a quick lap, although there are some personal bests a little bit further through the field, including Alba Larson, who's done a personal best through the first sector with a 44.51 through that sector. Just ahead of Jaba Al-Sabah, currently behind Peyton Westcott at the moment as well, but will line up alongside the American on the 10th row of the grid in 20th position, but improvement here through the first sector. little bit slower through the second set than she'd like to be. What about the third sector? Can she improve and work her way up the order? As Adam Al-Azhari moving now across the line as well. Only 18th quickest, but a personal best through the third sector. There are 33.423 across the line. Al-Aqsoy will make his way now into the pit lane. I think that's done and dusted. Kenzo Craig may have another provisional pole to start tomorrow's third race, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that. 2 pole positions already locked up for the British driver already, and for our Race GP. Now some lap times are being removed, and we're keeping a close eye out as well if these are any of our top 2 drivers here, or top 3, or even top 10, to see if there's any big shuffles happening there as Kenzo's come across the line with a 2:15.237, but he dived straight into the pit lane. Alexander Bondarev now making his way through the third and final sector, but unfortunately no green timings through sector 1 or sector 2, so they'll have to settle for the second position, but at least it's on the front row of the grid and will line up alongside Kenzo. But unfortunately he's got Andy Consani behind him, so that means Kenzo's got a rear gunner as well to protect the rear bumper of that number 29 come the start of the race. So this brings an end here to qualifying 2 here at the Biodrome to set the field up for race number 3 tomorrow. And let's have a look at who finished where in this session. These are provisional results. It could change. And once again, Kenzo on the top there. It'll be 2 pole positions for the British driver, and for our Race GP, be a fantastic way to start the weekend here as well. Alexander Bondarev will up alongside him, but of course it's a rookie out in front once again here in qualifying 2 for the UAE4 Series. That is 2 pole positions for the rookie as well. A fantastic effort for that driver there. Alexander Bondarev finishes the qualifying session here in second. Not exactly where we'd like to have started. He'd like to be obviously in pole position, but still a front row start will give him a chance here to take the lead going down towards turn 1 if he's very brave on the brakes, or if he'll try and tuck in line behind Kenzo Craig. Andy Consani third, so he'll line up on the second row of the grid with Al-Aqsoy alongside for company. So 2 rookies inside the top 4. Emily Cotti with Davide Cosma Christopher will share the third row of the grid provisionally for the third race tomorrow. Scott Lindblom and Nicolo Mataganani on the 4th row of the grid. But why don't we check out some highlights here from the second qualifying session of the UAE4 Series.